I cannot afford to live. Americans get emotional as the U.S. economy goes off the rails, Michael Snyder reports. As we approach what's likely to be the most chaotic presidential election in U.S. history, trouble signs are starting to erupt for the U.S. economy. In fact, CNN is actually admitting that the long-predicted storm clouds in the economy may actually be forming. I can't remember the last time that I saw a CNN article with a headline like that, but at this point it's becoming extremely difficult for the mainstream media to avoid the truth. Inflation is getting worse at the same time that many key sectors of our economy are slowing down. And if you thought that the last couple of years were rough for the economy, just wait until you see what's coming next. Tremendous turmoil is on the horizon, and the American people are becoming increasingly emotional about our rapidly growing economic problems. On Wednesday, we learned that prices jumped even more than expected during the month of March. Inflation jumped in March as prices for consumer staples, such as gasoline, edged higher, and those for housing remained stubbornly high, suggesting inflation may be a bit stickier than it seemed just a few months ago, economists said. The Consumer Price Index, a key inflation gauge, rose 3.5% in March from a year ago, the U.S. Labor Department reported Wednesday. That's up 3.2% from February. Lots of pundits on television are telling us that it's really bad news for Joe Biden. But if prices were only rising at 3.5% annual rate, that would be outstanding news. In fact, if prices were only rising at 3.5% annual rate, I would not be concerned about inflation at all. Of course, by now everyone realizes that the way inflation is calculated has been changed repeatedly over the years, and so the numbers that the government gives us are essentially meaningless at this point. In order to get a realistic idea of how much prices are rising, we need to look at specific categories. For example, Fox Business is reporting that the cost of energy is up 36.9% from where it was in January 2021. Tuesday's inflation numbers punctuate what has been a dreadful 3 years for energy consumers. The overall cost of energy in March is up 36.9% from where it was January 2021, according to the Department of Labor Bureau of Labor Statistics. Of course, energy prices are going to go a lot higher than they are right now. Just wait until Iran and Israel start lobbing missiles at one another. Housing has become insanely expensive as well. In fact, the average monthly mortgage payment on a newly purchased home has approximately doubled since Joe Biden entered the White House. So how in the world can they possibly tell us with a straight face that inflation is in the low single digits if that is the case? Home insurance rates are going into the stratosphere as well. The 71-year-old retiree in South Dakota says that his home insurance payment went up by 110% in just 1 year. Ken Brown is worried he's going to be forced out of his home if his home insurance premium continues to go up. The 71-year-old retiree who lives near Rapid City, South Dakota, has seen his annual cover with American Family skyrocket almost 10% in the last year, from $1,665 to $3,490. Ken is on a fixed retirement income, while his wife Valeria, 68, is still working to help cover the insurance bill and a whole host of other rising costs. Let's be honest with ourselves. The truth is that we are in the midst of the worst inflation crisis that any of us have ever seen. Don't let them gaslight you. The price of food is also going nuts. At one location in California, a 40-piece order of chicken McNuggets and 2 orders of large fries will set you back more than $25. A viral social media video about a $25 McDonald's deal recently sparked an online debate about California's minimum wage increase. A TikTok user who posted videos under the username Shannon Montipaya shared the video on March 27, She was in the drive-thru of a Southern California McDonald's location when she saw a sign for a 40-piece Chicken McNugget meal deal, which also included 2 large orders of fries. The price of the meal bundle was $25.39, including sales tax. It would come to roughly $27. In the video, the social media user lamented that the meal didn't even include a drink. Okay, so it's $25.39 for 40-piece nuggets and 2 large fries, she said. You couldn't even throw in the Sprite. Now, with everything that's going on, I can only certainly understand why Americans are getting so emotional about inflation. Recently, one TikTok user racked up 5 million views when he posted a rant in which he boldly declared that, quote, "I cannot afford to live," end quote. Last week, a TikTok user posted an angry rant about the cost of living that's since been viewed 5 million times on the platform, with tens of thousands of comments and shares. "I make over 3 times the federal minimum wage and I cannot afford to live," he shouts into the camera. "It's embarrassing to come out and say that it is a struggle to survive right now, but I know so many people are struggling," he said. And later he concludes, "The American dream is dead." Many of you can't identify with that. I have heard from so many readers that are deeply struggling in this economy. Unfortunately, there are signs that things are about to get even worse. For example, small business optimism in the United States has dropped to the lowest level in 11 years. The failure of Bidenomics has crushed confidence among U.S. small businesses to the lowest level in more than a decade, as the future path of inflation remains a significant concern. Readers must remember small businesses are vital to the economy, contributing 44% of the country's economic activity and creating 2/3 of net new jobs. The National Federation of Independent Businesses, NFIB, reported Tuesday that its small business optimism index declined 0.9 points to 88.5, the lowest level since the second half of 2012, or about when the U.S. economy climbed out of the worst financial crisis ever. And I was deeply saddened to learn that 99 Cents Only is moving towards liquidating all of their stores. 99 Cents Only shops will begin shuttering its hundreds of locations on Friday as the company moves towards total liquidation. 99 Cents Only stores, together with its financial and legal advisors, engaged in an extensive analysis of all available and credible alternatives to identify a solution that would allow the business to continue, the company said in a press release. Following months of actively pursuing these alternatives, the company ultimately determined that an orderly wind down was necessary and the best way to maximize the value of 99 Cents Only stores' assets. Prior to the announcement, 99 Cents Only was operating 371 stores in the United States. Of course, we also recently learned that Dollar Tree and Family Dollar will be closing about 1,000 stores. All over America, stores that were once thriving will soon be boarded up. This is what the future of our country looks like, and many Americans are preparing for rougher times by purchasing large quantities of gold. Gold has turned into money for Costco, where yellow metal sales began last year, have turned into a cash cow for the big box retailer. In fact, sales are so brisk that analysts at Wells Fargo expect revenue may now be running at $100 million to $200 million a month, a rapid acceleration since bullion hit the warehouse club late in the summer of 2023. Just like me, so many of you can feel what is coming. A tipping point has arrived, and the outlook for the months ahead is very bleak. The U.S. economy is going off the rails, and the worse things get, the more frustrated American people are going to become. And this is by Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Michael's new book entitled Chaos, available in paperback and for Kindle on Amazon, and you can check out his new Substack newsletter right here. About the author, Michael Snyder's extremely controversial new book, Chaos, available in paperback and Kindle on Amazon. He's also written 7 other books available on Amazon, including End Times, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, Commissions Earned. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work that he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, The Most Important News, and he always freely and happily allows others to republish those articles on their own websites. You can connect with Michael on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and share his articles on your own social media accounts. It's definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.